600 minutes. 649,000. 600 minutes.
Tyler.
What are we talking about
You
today?
read a lot of books. You read a lot of books.
I read a decent amount, but not like crazy.
Tyler,
I got a book talk.
But what speed do you listen to books at?
Most of the 2x speed.
2 times speed.
Yeah, it's not that
I
fast.
have gotten into your car while you have an audiobook playing, and it sounds like, and you understand all of it.
It makes me focus because if it goes too slow, I'm like waiting. Okay, come on.
You focus with your eyes. I don't know. If
Thanks, guys, for
Hey
this is the
guys,
last
thanks
episode
so much.
of this. We're done
Okay,
here.
These are our top picks for books that you should read.
Our favorite books we read last year was the original title.
Yeah, it was. But
And
books
we
you should read.
We put it off till March, though, so it's hard to say.
We're too far into it
This is
now.
what I think we read in the past 15 months minus 3.
Yeah, but is it true what they say about readers?
Yeah,
Readers are leaders.
yeah. Note takers are history makers.
Note takers are, right. Toots my goots.
Ride boats.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the Tyler and Neil Explain Everything podcast. Now officially your 4th favorite podcast. Hit the subscribe button and make sure you go to patreon.com/explain everything to get exclusive episodes. Looks like we made it.
In this episode where we are talking about something very educational, we wanted to make sure we dumbed that down at the beginning and do our own sound effects.
Bazooka.
You never love me, Mom.
Yeet skirt. That's so good.
Have you seen that TikTok where they're like, hey, what if this is you just got out of a time machine and this is the very first thing that somebody introduced you with is this video?
Oh, that's amazing. Skirt. Yeet. So good.
All right. So Tyler and I, we are, I would say we're avid readers, voracious readers. No, that's velociraptors. That's different.
You got me. You got me.
Pratt Attack.
Velocirators.
Bryce Dallas Howard. Dallas Cowboys Howard.
kind of matter.
All right, so we're going to talk about this. We were originally we're going to use some words. It's his last podcast we're recording in a row. So we have this
Neil,
thing,
don't give away trade
we
secrets.
have this thing like when we get to a certain number of our podcasts that we do, we start to trail off after a little bit, and it just becomes a lot of bits. Do you remember we did that
Welcome
one
to
bit?
Little Bits. This is when I'm half listening.
It was just a setup for this. Okay, so I don't know how many books would you say you read a month? Do you have a goal?
No, I just read and move through.
Would you say that you're more than 2 a month?
Yes.
Yes, I would say
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Would you say you're more than
How
3
many do you
a
read
month?
a month? What is this game? What are you doing?
I wanted to. Is it at a 4 a month? Is
4
it
a
at a
month.
5 a month?
It's about 4 a month.
Yeah.
Four to 5 a month is my average.
If I could get 4, it's a great month for me.
Yeah.
But I'm usually around 3.
yeah.
Realistically,
Summer I read a lot more because I'm like traveling to speak and stuff. So it's like I get to listen a
you
lot
like sit
longer
outside on a blanket and read.
and speak to like strangers on the street. Yeah, I'm like, do you know? I have a megaphone. I was like, do you know the Lord?
Is that speaking to strangers?
Yeah.
Oh man.
With it's speaking to strangers with scones. It's a Jerry Seinfeld show.
Actors eating avocados and avalanches.
Yeah.
Oh,
Speaking to strangers on scones.
So what we did is we decided, what if we could narrow this down to
How many books did you read last year?
Well, at 3 a month.
So you're
I would
at
say I read-
36.
Yeah.
So is that your goal? You do
Easily.
short-term goals.
No. So my goal was
sorry.
more than that.
Said no.
My goal was more than that. But last year was a little bit crazy for me.
Yeah, you had a lot.
So there were a few months in the beginning of the year where I didn't because I was tanning most of that time.
Yeah. Well, you're a big tanner.
Big Tanner is what they call me.
Big tanner.
So Margaret and I were in the tanning bed
So good.
with the.
This is John Maxwell. Sorry, we got to tell you, our guest today for the books thing is John Maxwell. He writes more books than we read.
450 uses for avocado oil.
So hot.
Rubbing
you're in a
it
tanning bed.
liberally all over
Oh,
my
gosh.
knees.
All right, pass. So you read about 36 last year. Is that your number, or did you count them?
Yeah.
Do you count?
So in all seriousness, if I can read 50 a year, that's my goal.
Okay.
But the problem is there's some that I have to read slowly. So I will try and do audiobook for some things. every one of my fiction books is going to be an audiobook.
Okay.
I'm
Why?
not
Is it
sitting-
because they take you there?
Yes.
Okay.
But,
Go, Jim Dale.
I can, I can listen to it and be very like I could be walking or I could be doing something else or yard work or whatever, and it does. It genuinely takes me in driving somewhere. But then there are I would say a lot of the nonfiction books are paper or Kindle
Okay.
or Nook.
So what do you do like at night? You just like read and you like sit in your bed and read?
I can't.
Is that I know you
Or I'll
can.
get
you
up
can
early.
do a lot. Okay, so you do
if
early.
I get up early. Yeah.
I'm just curious because like you don't like in the middle of the day I'm gonna break
And I don't
it
have
out.
I don't have like a big lunch break or anything like that. So if I will read at any chance I get.
Okay.
I'm reading right now my lines off the teleprompter.
I'm reading your mind.
Wow. Okay.
I'm like that
how
guy
many
from
how many
Heroes.
do you read?
Last year the previous year I read like 30 something and then like 20 was that 20? And then I was on track. My goal was 50, but then, the pandemic hit and it was a lot to go on because I know how to use the internet. So everybody that don't know how to use the internet, which is everybody, asked me how to use the internet.
Yeah, I got 1,000 free hours.
What's this Facebook thing everybody's talking about?
And so, anyways, so then last year I shot for a goal and I hit exactly 50 books. So,
No way.
Yeah.
In 2021.
Which I was really proud of until I accidentally stumbled upon like Book Talk on TikTok. One of theirs.
Gosh.
Those people like 150 books a year is like low for that group. And
Yeah.
I'm like, are you reading just like a bunch of children's books? Like, how are you getting through these?
You have those
Sheesh.
reading those like scholastic goals at the end
Yeah,
in
it's a
the
book
summer.
fair.
Book fair. Yeah.
I'll take a pencil, a picture of Michael Jordan, and that book of Calvin and Hobbes.
That was me. Every book fair.
That's amazing.
So yeah, I read 50 books last year and I was really excited. And I read pretty much about the same time. Like I do every now and then I'll do a fiction if I've done a bunch of like leadership. But most of the time, my three are leadership, then like a communication book, and then I read stuff on like, I don't know, you call it race relations, social justice, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Hear perspectives of Black people and their experiences, how I can help and be an advocate.
100%.
And so those are my three main topics. And then every now and then I'll throw in like a fiction book just because I need a break from trying to make myself better, Neil.
I know.
I feel like I'm regressing as a person. I don't think I'm getting any better anymore. I think I was like, oh, I'm getting so much better now. I feel like I'm just a worse person than I was.
No.
I think I'm broke. I'm a broken man, Neil.
Welcome to.
Oh, wow. We got music.
This is everything you need to know.
No, I was hoping that I would do that when you said, I'm a broken man. This is everything you need to know.
I'm sorry. I didn't give you. Yeah, I wish you had more time.
It was. We paid a lot of money. Brian, we gave him basically everything we've ever earned
Yeah.
to get this sound.
Yeah.
So we got to play that more.
We're still in the hole.
In
Even from
fact,
Patreon, we're still in the hole.
We are. So what we're going to do is we're going to break this down into 3 books. Book number 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to cheat on one of those a little bit, but that's it's okay because it's all right.
Because I make the rules. So I can do whatever I want.
The rules don't matter. So we'll go back and forth. Tyler will do one. I'll do one, and back and forth. These are in the last year. In the last 12 months, not saying in 2021, but in the last 12 months, these are some of our best recommended reads. Also, can we say this going into it? That the Libby app
Oh my gosh. Start
on
with
your
this.
phone, start with this. The Libby app is it's like what would it be? It's a portal. It's a connection to your local library. So you can read any book from your library as long as they have it. You put your library card in it, and then you can just reserve those books there. You'll manage that hold. When it comes available, you hit yes, and they give you 14 days to read it or to listen to it. So there are audiobooks and there are actual books that you could read in the app or on Amazon Kindle.
That's so good.
Tip your waiters and waitresses.
Yep.
Okay, so get the Libby app, Libby.
Yeah. It's like Audible but free.
It is, yes, and it's like I'm waiting for a book to come in the Libby app right now, and it's going to take forever, and it's really bothered me. So Tyler, do you want to go with number 1?
I would rather you.
Okay, I can do that. Book number 1, I am finishing it right now, and this book it actually says a lot of things that Tyler has tried to teach me over time, but has really confirmed a lot of the things that Tyler
Sure, Neil.
has told me.
Okay, Neil. Okay.
It's called Show Your Work. It's by Austin Kleon. He also wrote another book that I read a couple years
Feel
ago.
like an artist.
Steal Like an
I said
Artist.
it first, so that means I read it first.
It is, yes.
That's how that works, Neil.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do this. So this guy actually started off as an artist before he became a writer. He got his start doing it's something called redacted poetry. What he does is he takes a newspaper from the Wall Street Journal or from something like that, and he actually blacks out and redacts all the parts from the newspaper, and then ends up leaving you with words that become a poem or a haiku or something like that, or an essay. And it's pretty cool. He'll either scribble them out by hand or he'll actually like draw a marker across them, all of them. So he's done TED Talks, he's done South by Southwest, he's been in the Wall Street Journal, and what he does is he encourages you how to tell good stories, to think about the process and not the product. This is one of the ones that really helped me. We're doing a series right now. We're kind of putting together a studio. It's like a broom closet, but just trying to make a place where we can record videos. And instead of waiting until it's done to actually start posting videos and podcasts and things like that in it, we have taken people along putting the lights together. Here's what the carpet's going to look like. Here's what this is. We're going to screw this light bulb in here. Let's do this. Taking people along the way, they genuinely are interested in the way this process has gone. And we've done a couple devotional videos in there. And then the other thing that he teaches is how to sell out by teaching what you know. A lot of us want to think that until we've learned everything, we can't actually teach it. No, just teach what you know and what you have learned already, not what you hope to learn. It's an easy read. It's very inspiring. I would say if you are an artist or a creator or a writer or anything, if you're a construction worker, it doesn't really matter. Some of the best TikToks and things like that are out there just showing the process of how they make something. I love this book.
That's so good. Yeah, and it's like you learn because you're watching them learn. And so
yes,
that's one of the things. As like somebody who's taught school, I learned more when I was teaching, and then not only me understanding it and saying it, but understanding how other people went through the process of learning it, the mistakes they made, and then I could learn it from all these different angles that I never would have thought about had I just gotten the right answer. So I have to like see someone else get the wrong answer and then understand how they got to that wrong answer.
Yeah. And
it's almost like you get to watch people do that behind the scenes. So I love that. I've read that book. It's awesome. And plus it's a cool looking book.
It's easy. Yep.
It's such a cool looking book. So, all right.
Can I say this?
Yeah. It's your podcast.
So Peter Jackson, it is not true. It is a Tyler and Neil explain everything.
Yeah.
So you go first.
You're doing it. Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson, one of the best things that he did, one of the first things I can remember of a blockbuster, big budget something where he would give you some example videos along the way. He would give you, they're like blog updates of, hey, here's how the movie's going. Hey, here's what we're working on. We're doing costumes, all that stuff. It made a huge impression on me because they didn't have the movie done, but they were showing you the process of it, and I absolutely loved it. Okay, that's all.
That's cool. I like it too.
Story time is up.
Peter Jackson.
Yep.
Aren't they doing a miniseries for Lord of the Rings?
They are. It's on Amazon.
Amazon. Okay. Is he's in charge of it or is he overseeing it?
No. He's mildly connected, but not in charge.
Mild
of it.
sauce connected, like Taco Bell mild sauce with a cute little pun on it. You're saucy. Shut up, pack of mild sauce.
Shut up, Peter.
I'm about to squeeze your guts
Peter
out.
Parker picked a pack of peppers. There's only a couple of them in here, though.
Yeah.
It's
I grabbed
mild.
extras, your friends. I'm going to throw them in the trash. I didn't even use them because I want to put them back. So thinking, I'm sorry. So mine, first book for me, and this, here's when I made my list, because we were picking 3 books, and I noticed you using a book you're reading now, which is against the rules, but that's fine.
I said I'm finishing it.
So help me. Your books we read in 2021.
No, I said books we read in the last 12 months.
Okay. Well, I'm not including my last 3.
Okay.
So I'm using just 2021 because those are the rules, people. And I'm a rule follower.
You're definitely a rule follower.
I've always said that about me because I'm following the rules of the truth. So I'm cutting out the 3 books that there's 3 books I read every year. I think I mentioned on the podcast before.
Yep. Tell them.
But just in case, Atomic Habits, Never Split the Difference. Atomic Habits by James Clear, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, and Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man by Manuel Ocho. Those are 3 books that I read every year, and I read Uncomfortable Conversations 2 or 3 times last year. So I'll reread those. I used to go to sleep listening to Never Split the Difference. I'd have a headphone in and just go to sleep listening to it. I just skip to a chapter and go. So all 3 of those I'll read. I'm not putting them on this list because they're all timers for me as of right now, unless I change my mind. But speaking of changing your mind, one book that I read for the first time last year was by Adam Grant. I never read anything by Adam Grant, and then I read one of his books. I think it was like originals or something, and then I just read everything he'd written. I think he's written 3 or 4 or 5 books, and he wrote Think Again, and he wrote it during the pandemic, And it's really good because he does hit on some practical stuff that we've all experienced in the past couple of years. But it's addressing like your mental blind spots, cognitive biases, and then like your thinking errors, things that you think that are true just because you've always thought it or that's the way it's taught or you perceived it or whatever it was, the people you're around. So much of our life and our thoughts and our processes and what we believe is just because we've been around it our whole life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's we
Like,
talk.
how did we get here? Why do we
and
think this?
it's the same reason that every election, half the country is just completely dumbfounded that anybody would vote for the other person, and the other half of the country is completely dumbfounded that anybody
Right.
vote for the other half of the country.
Yep.
And it's always these spots of green, not green. There's green, the Green Party. They're big contenders of blue and red across the country, and everybody's just like, it's baffling to them to see that anybody thinks different. It's because we grow up and we live in these bubbles. Even as diverse as we think we are,
Yep.
we're all pretty much in a bubble. And I think social media is helping break that with the next generation, but it's also helping create that with a lot of people because it, forms our cognitive bias because we only hear the stuff that we agree with because that's how the algorithm works. Anyways, so think again. If I'm breaking it down to just like a core thing to talk about on a podcast while we're talking about 5 other books,
Sure.
he talks about being one of 4 different types of people when it comes to like our opinions or thoughts. He's got the preacher, which is where you just promote your ideas and what you think. I'm just saying it. I'm not asking for feedback. I'm just
Interesting.
telling you what I think. They
Yeah.
call that the preacher. They got the prosecutor. That's where what you do is you attack other people's ideas and thoughts. All you do is you come up with defenses for why they're wrong. And that's not right. And that's not right. And
Yeah.
that's not right. Then you've got the politician who really adjusts based on whatever room they're in and has no concern for what actually is true. We just kind of make up what we want because it fits with the narrative that we want. And those are the 3. That's actually, I'll say it wrong. I think it's like, what's his name? Phil Tetlock, I think is his name,
Okay.
came up with those 3. But then what Adam Grant adds on is don't be a preacher, a prosecutor, a politician in this scenario. Be a scientist. And the reason he be a scientist is because the whole like code of being a scientist, the whole scientific method is about you don't know the truth. You think you know where it's going. Then you test it and you read and you study valid stuff and you hear different perspectives and then you come to a conclusion and you don't set that conclusion in stone. You don't write it in pen, you write it in pencil. And you think it and you can keep darkening that pencil, but you never write it in pen. And then you keep hearing other thoughts and you might have to erase a little bit or erase all of it.
Yeah.
And you be willing to learn and rethink your opinions and how you perceive stuff based on new, better, or differing opinions or thoughts. And I have cognitive. I have all the things that I said are bad. I have those mental blind spots. I have all that stuff, ways I think because I've always thought it. And I heard this saying a while back. It was your first instinct is how you're brought up, how you're raised, how culture trains you. Your second thing, how you respond to that, is who you want to be. You are not defined by your initial thoughts. You're defined by how you react to those initial thoughts and what you choose
Your
to
response
do.
to it. Yeah.
Yes. And so I do my best to try to live a life that like I'm going to think. I always joke around and say, of course I have the best idea in the room until I hear a better idea.
Yeah.
Then I hope I drop my idea, and who cares if it was my idea or I came up with it or I've thought it for 20 years. If I hear a better idea, I want to leave that idea and say, this is better.
Yeah.
And that's, I work hard to try to do that. I'm not always successful, but I try to. And so that book encapsulated it.
We
I'm sorry.
stick we stick a flag in what our beliefs are, and we are completely unable to hear anything else.
Yes.
And now we're not fighting to learn to understand. We're fighting to be right or to stay with what you think.
And when we hear another opinion, we're not listening and trying to see if that's
Nope,
true.
nope.
We're trying to come up with arguments and defenses for why that's wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of done having those conversations. And it's just, I heard, it was actually Jordan Peterson. I saw a TikTok and he just said, stop wasting your time trying to convince people who don't believe, stop wasting your time with them and just turn around and listen and hear what they have to say. And then maybe that'll strengthen or change what you think.
Yeah.
But if you're not getting through to people, stop saying it to them. And so that's kind of where I'm at.
Very
It's
good.
called giving up, Neil.
Giving up.
What's your second?
Simon Sinek.
Because Simon
says, leaders eat last. It's not a new book. I think it's been out for maybe 3 or 4 years. It is. So I've read this one a couple of times. It is probably one of my, so I have that mentality. I think about that phrase, leaders eat last, from a very figurative, like if you have people over to your house, I'm not going to be the first one over there for the plate or whatever, but the the science behind it is actually a little bit. So here's what he talks about. He talks about how leaders and followers, the way that is set up is actually more biological than what we think. There's a leader or a pack of people who lived 200 years ago or 300 years ago or whatever were walking around. The leader is the person who protects the pack, not the person who makes everybody else do the things that they don't want to. And so he really hits on this thought that not all leaders are good. There are bad leaders. Are there bad leaders? Let's list out who the bad leaders are.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Sure. You start.
So he talks about the concept of like what makes a leader worth following. I wanted you to list names. You didn't. Red leader, gold leader. So what makes a leader worth following? And he goes through a lot. One of the things I like about Simon Sinek, first of all, I still can't figure out his accent, but one of the things that I love about him is he talks a lot about the science of things, like not just, hey, here's my 21 irrefutable these. And I'm not opposed to those kind of things, but I think doing the study and the research about how we got here is really good. So he talks about things like serotonin, oxytocin, how those help us socially form relationships, and then endorphins disguise exhaustion, but then dopamine rewards us when we finish a task, and how our physiological makeup actually plays into the way we follow people and the way we lead people. This is my main takeaway from the book. That people aren't tools. They're not there to help you get to whatever. Bad leaders view people as an abstraction or an expense and dehumanizes them to be able to get something done and accomplished. Instead of that, so the difference between like clicking on a social media project, a social justice project and hitting the like button, or actually going on and helping alongside those people, those are two very different things. They both get a little bit of the same reward, which is a problem with society right now. You could hit like on a post that has to do with social justice, and it will give you the same chemical response as if you actually went out and helped with the social justice project itself. So real leaders prioritize the needs of the group over their own. Leaders eat last.
That's good.
I love that book.
That's a great book. I love one of the little mini tips that he has in there that I try to do. I don't always do it well, but whenever you're sitting in a group and you're in charge, like you're the person who could make the final decision, don't give your opinion or hint towards your opinion or agree with anybody until you hear everyone else's opinion. And then you ask questions to, highlight different things people talked about, because people, a lot of times, if the leader, I've been in rooms where the leader says something and everybody just kind of agrees and thinks, oh, that's what we're supposed to think, because they make the decision anyway.
Yeah.
And so, that's good. That's good. Great.
Good.
Simon Sinek, love him. I'll read anything he writes. So my next one is called Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria by Dr. Beverly Tatum. Have you read this one yet?
You told me. I've got it on the list.
It's so good. I love this book. It is she is one of the leading experts on like studying the psychology of racism, and it kind of addresses the fact that like if you walk into like a high school or a college, even college, where there's different ethnic groups in there, you'll notice that like, oh wow, so that table has all the black kids sitting there, and that table has all the Latino kids sitting together, and this is all the Asian kids sitting together, and then the white kids are here and here and here and spread out. And it's like they start noticing that around high school, college age, a lot of times they start grouping together, and it's like, is this a problem that needs to be addressed? Is there an issue in this school? And she just talks through the mentality of what these young people have to go through living in America as, a person of color, and how they are trying to find someone going through a similar experience, and how it wouldn't relate if you're talking. It'd be like, if you're, if you're a person of color, you don't need me to tell you what it's like. But if say you're just like a white dude, I'm one of those.
Yeah.
I didn't pick it, just for the record. And so I know. I was like, thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. Sheesh. You couldn't have dated somebody after high
done
school.
This different,
you know
man.
what I mean? You had to be in 8th grade. So, sorry. So
they're not listening.
Yeah, no, they're definitely not. They don't have the app downloaded. And so one of the things you could think is like, if you want to sit here and complain about your job as somebody who, has to do whatever the boss says, like whatever middle manager says, you just have to do that role every single day. Your frustrations with having to do that every day is not going to be the same as the frustrations of the CEO of the company, because they have a different experience, a different daily routine. People look at them a different way, and it's completely different in how they function. And imagine that, but you're actually born with that label, and you're trying to find somebody who's going.
And
through
they didn't choose
together.
it.
Exactly, and they're going through this experience, and I mean, race is just a social construct. We just made it up.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm listening to a book right now, and she talks about in the book, she says, this isn't Dr. Tatum. This is the book I'm reading now, but she says in South Africa, there are no black people.
Yeah.
There aren't. It's not until you go to like, United Kingdom or America, and they're like, oh, you're black, you're white, you're labeled automatically.
You're South African.
No, you're labeled once you get there because that's how they've been able to say this is this and this and put constraints on people and divide people. And so it's a really interesting book, and it's definitely at the top of my list of books I recommend people read. So
I put that on my list when you recommended, because I enjoy reading books like that, but I love the analogy of it because it just makes sense. You can picture a cafeteria and why certain people are sitting together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. What's that one about the bus? The on the bus putting leaves on. I don't know what it is. There's one where you talked about
Move Your Bus.
No, I don't know what it is. It has something about Speed. That was the movie. No, I can't think of what it was. It was that. It was the whole oh, there you are. Oh, I'm here. Here I am. It was the like when leaders show up. I forget what it is, but it's been a long time. There it is again. I listened to it on 4 times speed.
You're talking about the energy bus?
Yeah, Energy Bus.
Oh, really?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yep, that was it. Man, I was way off. Okay. Am I on book number 3 for me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, book number 3 for me is actually 3 books. I am doing my best to get back to some fiction, and so my three favorite books from this past year. I've finished 3 of them: Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Let's kind of up on 30 and be like, Midnight Sun. Bye. Twilight. Just kidding.
No, I only have a certain amount of energy and so what is crazy? So next up, I have Goblet of Fire. It's telling me 5 weeks that I have to wait on the Libby app, but I gotta do a better job. I'm gonna go buy it. Whatever. I loved these, and I am shocked that I waited this long. I really genuinely am. I have known a little bit of, or known that there is a Harry Potter culture out there, but I mean, what a writer.
She's good.
J.K. Rowling is, she definitely has painted a picture. There are some themes that I've started to see in here that I didn't necessarily know, like trust being one of them. But more or less, what I love about this one, the first one was good. The second one, I was interested because I thought, okay, wait a minute. These are actually more mystery novels. We've talked about that just in conversation between, like, where is this going? And then you start looking at it like you would a puzzle. I'm trying to put pieces together. I'm looking at things from all angles. I'll go, wait, what about that? When is this going to come back? Because it almost all comes back into play. Something I tell my kids all the time when at least a decent movie. If you have seen something in that movie, there's a reason that it was in there. There are very few throwaway scenes. So there are all these little Easter eggs or callbacks or whatever you want to call them that are in there. It's changed the way that I read these books. The third one is definitely my favorite so far, Prisoner of Azkaban.
Movies or books?
Well, the books are all better than the movies.
I know, but which book do you like the most?
The Prisoner of Azkaban.
Third one, too? Okay.
Yeah, because what happens is it tended to break the mold a little bit.
Yeah.
They started getting out of the school routine.
Yep.
You know they're in a school. It's called Hogwarts.
No, tell me. I don't know what that is.
It's a school for wizards
Her
and
sister
witches.
was a witch.
A couple of takeaways. First of all, I hate the Dursleys. With
nice.
An absolute passion. And I don't know. Keep in mind, I have no idea where this is going. So I'm approaching this with like, whatever. I just don't want to see them in the Goblet of Fire. If they're there, I'm going to be upset because they keep making me angry. They're not getting any better. I'm not getting any better for having to hear about them.
Better than me?
Oh my gosh.
Hey, remind me
bought
when you finish the series,
Yeah.
there's a theory about them, and I'm excited to talk to you about it. And I'll save it for the podcast. Remember, we're doing a follow-up podcast on Harry Potter.
Yeah, we
whenever
are.
you finish.
So far, my 2 favorite characters. Oh, well, like what you said so far, Hermione is definitely the smartest one in every room. She's the hero so far. Professor Lupin and Sirius Black are my 2 favorite people so far. I'm 3 books into this thing. It takes me about 2 weeks to read one of them, and I'm reading them slowly. I'm not going through it, speeding it up at all. I want to enjoy the process. So I sat down. So I'm thinking, is it the second book? Yeah. Chamber of Secrets. I sat there with my phone open, playing the audiobook with Cassidy in the room. We just sat there in silence listening to this thing for like an hour and a half. I was walking. Sydney came through the other day, and I had my AirPods in. I'm sitting on the couch, just staring in a dark room. She goes, "Dad, are you okay?" It's like, yeah.
Daddy's gone somewhere. Daddy's gone right now.
Daddy is gone. Daddy's in Diagon Alley right now.
Diagon Alley.
Diagon.
I'm so excited you're reading that. Like,
Okay.
I couldn't tell because you were like, man, it's so good. It's on my mind. I'm like,
You didn't
are you
believe
doing
me.
that? No, I didn't.
You really didn't.
Not until like 3 days ago.
I'm an actor.
You're acting. I'm like, okay, well, if he's carried it on for 3 audiobooks, he's really dedicated to the joke.
I seriously am. But also, you said, like, I trust you. You read a lot. I trust you. You've never led me wrong. There was one time. But you've never
you
normally
led me
led
wrong
me
one time. And I read it and I was like, what? And then you were finished. You recommended as you started it. And then you were like,
I was in the book, and that book was trash.
Okay.
Can we say it? What name that was?
No, it's probably not.
Okay. All right. Your third one.
Okay.
Take us home.
So-
Tiny Dancer.
So I thought I would leave so I told you I read those, but then I'll throw in some fiction every now and then.
Yeah.
And I guess it's 4 or 5 years ago, I read a book. It's called Cuckoo's Calling. It's by Robert Galbraith. You heard of him?
Gilbreth?
Robert Galbraith.
Okay.
And it's like it's almost like a modern Sherlock Holmes type situation. It's called the more books are written, and so now it's more like the Cormoran Strike series. Cormoran Strike is a amputee. He was a military hero. Now he does detective work.
What's it called?
The Cuckoo's Calling. Cuckoos Calling. And
Robert Gilbreth.
Yep, Robert Galbraith. Yeah, and so essentially he is a detective, a private eye, and he hires on an assistant named Robin, and then it just follows their journey of building up his practice, and a couple little things like if I'm just being like it's similar to the Harry Potter books, how it's got a running thread, it's got some relationship stuff, but it's not overt like Twilight. Oh, I love and looking in your eyes kind of situation, but you can tell relationships are building throughout the series. There's dynamics of people along with work, and then it ends. You saw it? That's what's up.
Are you messing with me?
No, I'm dead serious. And then at the end of every one, it's like a mystery novel. Like there's little hints at the end that reveal something. It's for adults. What did you just find out when you searched it on the internet?
Published under a pseudonym,
Yeah.
J.K. Rowling's brilliant debut mystery introduces Detective Strike.
Yep.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So I read 4 or 5 years ago, she came out with,
No way.
she wrote the Harry Potter series, which is kind of like her really.
I had this goofy grin on my face while I was
know.
reading this.
You're like, you peasant? I was like, yeah, I really got into it. I love J.K. Rowling. She's incredible. Like, so she wrote the Harry Potter series. And then, and like during that, she took like a little break and wrote some small stuff. But then right after she finished, she wrote something called The Casual Vacancy, and had a lot of pressure on it because she wrote pretty much the best-selling book except for the Bible.
There's a picture of Robert Galbraith, and there's her face next to it.
What's up? Mark Twain, baby. And so, anyways, she wrote Casual Vacancy. It was okay. I wasn't crazy about it. It was all right. And then I think to take the pressure off of her upcoming books, and she wanted to start a series, she went under this pseudonym, and I just love her writing. And I'd only read that first one, and then I like forgot about the series. And then I was like kind of exhausted from reading like prove yourself books. And so there was a span there. I think she's written 5 books total. So I read 4 of the books within like a month of each other. And some of them are better than others, but they're all really good. But you shouldn't read them because there's cuss words in it. So sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm giving them a warning. This is your warning, Neil.
Man.
Velociraptors. So those are ours. So what do we do now?
Velocirators.
What do we do now? Do we 3v3 it or?
Yeah. Welcome to the party, pal. This is 3v3.
I had a lot of fajitas for lunch.
Like a fajita. Sorry. Me too. I had too many chips. You can tell my
Oh my
brain
gosh.
is sinking into my back of
All
my
right, 3v3. We each pick 3 characters, people, things, people, places, things, people, places, things, and we actually compete 3 versus 3, and then you guys get to vote whether or not who wins on this one. So
And you vote in the comment thread of our Instagram.
Yep.
No,
there it
no,
is.
no. What is it? Patreon.
Our Patreon.
Patreon.com/explain everything.
That's correct.
Double the money, double the fun.
Okay. So who would write your biography?
That's good.
Who would do it?
All right, you go first.
I'm going first?
As always.
So the first one that I think of is J.K. Rowling.
Well, you stole my number one pick.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, it'd be great.
That would be it would probably be better than the actual biography itself. Okay, how about you? Number one.
I go Malcolm Gladwell.
Oh,
dang. He's an incredible storyteller.
Oh, dang.
And he could, like, even my bad stuff, he'd be like, but if you think about it like this.
It was good.
It was okay that he shanked someone on the street. You know what I mean? Like, he always, that's one book I read last year that, like, the only book by him that I've read that I was like, not for me, was The Bomber Mafia. And it was a good book. It was interesting, but it wasn't what I go to. It's like, I'm going to go to, what is it? Where I'm thinking, Chewy's. Chewy's is an amazing Tex-Mex restaurant.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go there and eat the hamburger sliders, okay? That's not what I go for.
No.
They're probably fine.
Yeah,
but that's not why I'm going to Chewy's. So
Talking to Strangers is so good.
Oh, that was really good. It wasn't his best, but it was really good.
Yeah, still really good. What was his best?
David and Goliath was incredible. Blink I loved. What is it? Something about the dog. Don't walk the dog. Don't pet the dog. Something like that. Blink was, nope. Best book ever by him. Outliers. It's the reason I held Titus back, even though he made it by like 3 days.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
it's really good.
So good.
Yeah, it's great.
There's another one he wrote that's really good. I've read everything he's written. He's so good. He's one of him and Simon Sinek are I'll read anything they write.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't take him.
I'll read. No, I won't.
Okay. Go.
I won't do it.
already took
Dr.
JK.
Seuss?
Yeah, you can have it.
Wow. I just think, man, you can get some artist renderings, you get some like illustrations, all that kind of stuff.
Neil was a fuzzit. Who wasn't, was it? He wore his shoes on the bottom of his toes.
No, it will go like it's to go. Neil. Not much rhymes with Neil.
He's a big deal, Neil. Hope that milk don't spill.
He's been sugar-free since 93.
Hands to yourself, don't feel. It might kill. He's worth a trill.
Oh my gosh.
In socks and
Did
box.
I tell you what my nickname was in 4th grade?
Big deal, Neil?
No, Neil the Steel Seal. I'm not even joking you. There was a kid that was in our class, was not all there. I'm sorry, buddy. And not you. He's the other guy. That's right. You okay? You welcome?
Wow. Go.
Anyways, all right, that's my number 2.
You know my nickname in 4th grade, and I'm dead serious? TT.
Wow.
All my friends call me TT for 4 years, and then I moved to Arkansas, and nobody called me that. They were like, oh, TT. I go, yeah.
Tyler doesn't need encouraging on that. All right, number 2 for you.
I do Simon Sinek. It's my choice.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And he's going to incorporate Apple into it.
Yeah,
he always does.
Every time.
He's like, Apple is not chasing
Does he
Microsoft.
do the audio book for it too?
Oh, yeah.
His audiobooks. Him and Malcolm Gladwell's are amazing.
So good.
Yeah, they're great.
So hot right now.
Number 3 for me would be Andy Weir.
Andy Weirhall?
He
So dumb.
Andy Weir, he's here.
You can notice on the episodes where I'm losing it a little bit. I'm starting to sound like a psychopath.
He wrote The Martian, Artemis, a few other. He is a brilliant author, but also extremely scientifically accurate. And that's what I want him to. I would like him to describe how pale I am in You Ever Dance with the Devil in the Pale Moonlight?
I've heard that song or phrase. It's a song if you sing it with rhythm.
The Joker said it to Batman.
Have you ever wondered how I got these scars?
Yeah.
I got on Joker TikTok for a while, like a couple days last week, where it's just people impersonating Joker, but they're saying random stuff. Have you ever bet cash, fam? It's funny.
Number 3 for you.
Robert Galbraith.
Oh my God.
He's a lot like your first choice, except for there's more curse words in it.
Okay. All right. Well, the kids can't read it.
Not my kids.
Not your kids. That's pretty smart. I see what you did there. You basically stole one of mine. And you told me I couldn't use Simon Sinek.
I did.
So you stole 2 of mine. And then when I said Dr. Seuss, you went, you can have them. Nobody cares about dad anymore.
That's what they say.
The question on everyone's mind, will it rock? The answer is probably yes.
I just realized
Yeah, what's that?
you didn't say the Baller Teacher Playbook is one of your.
You should have. I should have said Tyler Tarver will write my biography.
My feelings. Have you read my book? I practically did. I mentioned you 5 times.
100%.
I
Yes.
mentioned. I literally 3 times told people to follow you on.
I still
Instagram.
have it halfway done.
Or halfway not done.
I
Depends
have
how
it
you look at
halfway
it.
done. No, it's halfway done. What's tricky about doing your audiobook is I can't quite get your inflection of your voice because I know you're writing it with attitude, and I haven't gotten all of it there. So there are times where I read it and I'm like, that's not what I thought.
Are you skipping the footnotes?
Yeah,
You have to.
Yeah, I
You
have
have
to.
to.
I have to.
Yeah.
Those are tricky to. Yeah, the audiobook version of this is like is okay. It's bad. Will it rock, ladies and gentlemen? Dwayne the Rock, who will win a fight? Dwayne the Rock Johnson or Gandalf? That's not the question. What
question.
book would Dwayne Johnson read for the audiobook? So like they have different guests that come on there, like Morgan Freeman doing an audiobook. Oh my gosh, sign me up. But what book would Dwayne the Rock Johnson do?
I think he reads the
audiobook?
Bible. You got him and James Earl Jones all day, bro. No, I think that it's James Earl Jones and The Rock reading it together, but they don't have a clear plan for who reads what part. So it's like The Rock overpowering him, but James Earl Jones being like, "You're not gonna hit me. I'm an old man," and he just like starts talking anyways. And The Rock's like lets him roll for a second, but then and then there's like probably by the time they get to like James, they're alternating every word as like kind of a cop out.
Oh my gosh.
Is that it? What did you do?
I think
he reads my book.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Do the second half of it
So that I
because
can
I've
sell
already
more
read the
coffee?
first half.
First half by Neil. Great. Now second half by Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Footnotes by Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Yeah. Oh, no. The footnotes are weird.
Oh man.
I tell people, I don't know if I warned them, but I had at one point in the edition, I don't know if it made it, was like, hey, let's be real. Like, you don't ever want 100% Tyler. And I joke like that all the time. It's a weird dude. So I'm like 40% Tyler in the main part and about 65% Tyler in the footnotes.
Oh my gosh. I wonder. So what if he did? What is it? It's a GZ NT. No, GZ T. I can't remember what the Instagram account is, but the one that this is Gen Z translation. Gen Z New Testament. The my favorite one by far. That would be the one that Dwayne Johnson would have to read. Is that version of it? James Earl Jones reads the New King James, and then Dwayne the Rock Johnson gets in there, and he would read it. The best one I've seen yet was what?
The best one you've seen yet? Go.
Is what is Jesus wept, and the newest version of it is emotional damage.
I have not seen that. That's incredible.
Best one.
That's good. I was gonna make a joke. You said that James Earl Jones would read the King James version, so I called it the King James Earl Jones version. And it's okay to say that because King James is not Jesus, so don't get on your high horse.
Yeah, gosh.
The guy who translated
Get
is
off your horse.
Get off. The horse is not just a regular horse. He's a very, very tall horse. He's the rock of horses.
You're gonna hurt yourself.
The rock upon ages.
A Trojan horse this thing in there.
The rock of it. Every time because it mentions rocks a lot.
Oh my
He's
gosh.
Like, and the Rock's reading. He's like, can't move a mountain. Can't move me. I don't know why he talks like that.
I don't know why either. Oh, and every once in a while, the little like translation things and footnotes down at the bottom of the Bible, Kevin Hart.
Okay, I love it.
Oh my gosh.
Do you get it? No. Sometimes when we make eye contact and you're saying something, I mouth.
And you're mouthing exactly what I'm saying?
I mouth what you're saying. Do you remember when we used to do that show, NLC Live, and I would be doing it and you would be reading it along with me? Do you remember that? This is it's a slow burn, but I'm getting you back.
Thank you for that.
Getting you back, boy.
Hey guys, these are books you should all read. Definitely go download the Libby app and also check these books out. The 3 that Tyler reads every year, I would also highly recommend those. Start off with those.
Do you have any that you read every year?
The Bible. It's a kids podcast. Be careful.
Have you seen those G.I. Joe promos that they dub over and they make like weird noises and stuff?
No.
Yes, you have.
I haven't.
Where they dub over and it's like there's one and they clip it to where they make them do stuff. And there's like one time this kid's like, I don't know, they're playing with fire in a house and the guy runs in and he goes, and he does it for a solid 35 seconds and the kids are like looking at him and he's looking back. It's funny.
I haven't
it's like
seen that
G.I.
one.
Joe lib dub or something. I don't know. We're going to watch it as soon as we end. I would play it, but they probably cuss. So don't watch it.
Don't watch that, kids.
Gosh, I spoke to some students this morning at a FBLA conference, and I was talking to them, and I was recommending. I was talking about paywalls with regards to creator economy because future business leaders of America.
That's right.
And I was talking about paywalls, Patreon.com/explain everything. And I was like, does anybody pay for a Patreon? And one lady in the back raised her hand like almost sheepishly, and I just called her. I was like, what is it? And she goes, it's a true crime podcast.
Oh
I
my
go,
gosh.
I go, hey, I'm not gonna lie, I don't listen to a lot, but when I do, I get hooked. I talked about like Serial season 1, and then I go also Up and Vanished. I said Up and Vanished, and then I realized that this is a room full of students, and I said, none of y'all watch that. It has cuss word in it. So I'm off the hook. It's almost like one time I presented at a conference and somebody told me to give out this bag of like Asian Red Bull, and it was a literal bag. And I thought, I don't want to do this. And so I didn't do it. And then his assistant ran up, handed me the bag, and I was like, okay. And the winner won the bag, and I gave it to him, and I looked him in the eyes on stage and said, do not drink
you said
that.
Don't. I remember that.
Do not drink this. I don't know where it's from. It could hurt you. The kid drank it, did not drink any water.
All of it.
And he ran around in the sun for 3 hours,
Yeah.
drank no other water, almost died. Like
Yeah,
literally
it's bad.
almost it was bad. Like I had to
It's
go.
really bad. You know, you get like a box of wine. It was basically the same thing, except it was an Asian Red Bull.
Yeah.
Off-brand knockout. Like
And he
knockoff.
drank it like it was a Camel
Yeah.
pack.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that was terrible.
That was really bad.
Like if he would have died, like,
That'd have been bad. And there's footage of you telling him to drink it.
okay, you edited it.
Telling him to not to
Neil's
drink it.
no, that was quick. Neil turned on me quick. He said, I can edit.
In a court of law.
Yeah.
Well,
They're
your
like, it's just-
your mom's watched plenty of Law and Order, so you're good.
Yeah, I'm fine. It's in the Bite Beyond documentary at the end. Yeah. Have you ever seen, I always think you talk about editing, like if I'm saying that and he goes, drink this, drink this. And there's an old Simpsons clip, and I watch a bunch of Simpsons, but I remember one where Homer was in an interview, but there was a clock behind him, and they clipped it together to make it look like he was saying something awful, and they played it on the news, but you could see the hands like switching back and forth.
That's funny.
And nobody caught it because it's the Simpsons. And not real life. In real life, people would never blatantly believe a media personality.
No, never.
Never. All right. Well, I guess I've driven our podcast in the ground. Thanks for coming to Dirt Cheap. What is wrong with me? I've lost it. I had too many chips for lunch earlier today.
All carbs.
Hey, thank you guys so much for coming to my TED Talk.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Explain Everything podcast. You can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Explain Everything Podcast. We're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, but you're already here. We love you. No, actually, we're in love with you. Thanks for coming on our TED Talk. Bye.